What's up YouTube? It's Big Fish here with another reaction video. Today we're here with MSNBC and it's going to be devastating because of the Department of Education layoffs. As a former person who was laid off, not me myself, but talking about a person who's about to be speaking, they're going to talk about the mass layoffs. So let's get into this.
Welcome back. This morning, more than 1,300 Department of Education employees are officially being laid off, cutting roughly half the entire department. It comes just weeks after the Supreme Court cleared the way for the Trump administration to carry out its plans for mass firings there. A lower court judge had previously put that plan on hold, warning that the layoffs will, quote, likely cripple the department. These fired workers performed a wide range of jobs, and many haven't been able to work since March when they were first placed on leave. Joining us now is one of those workers, Jason Cottrell, who was a data coordinator at the Department of Education before he was laid off today. Jason, must be a tough day for you. Can you just describe what you did at the Department of Education and who's going to do it now?
Sure. I was responsible for the essentially evidence building related to data quality, data governance, and ensuring that the data that is coming into the department for a lot of the work that we do is meeting the standards of good science and good responsible governance of the work. And so we wanted to make sure that essentially the work that we were doing was responsible to the public, to the individuals who are paying our salaries, that are paying for the grants that are going out of the department, and just overall ensuring that we were good stewards for the work that we do to the public. You
are one of more than 1,300 employees now gone from the Department of Education. What kind of impact do you see this having on schools and students just a couple of weeks before everybody heads back to school?
Yeah, we're already seeing delays in a lot of the work that the department does. And, the public is, trying to reach out to the department to have questions answered, especially in the post-secondary realm for federal student aid. We're hearing about the delays that they are receiving or the non-responses in terms of applying for their aid, applying to receive their student loans, to pay back their student loans for those that are in repayment. And, for our K-12 institutions, we're, hearing about the delays in getting the funding out to those schools. Additionally, we're hearing about the failure to meet congressional deadlines. For me, the data is really important in terms of ensuring, accuracy, success for our students. And we're hearing about delays in actually getting some of those reports to Congress or not getting those reports at all. And so that's a big concern for my colleagues, for myself. And the long-term impacts are going to be devastating. Data aren't going to be collected. There's going to be falls in terms of the quality of data that is actually coming in because folks aren't able to ask those questions because nobody is there to actually do the work that needs to get done.
The Washington Post reported yesterday that because of the Trump administration's deferred resignation program, the federal government is now paying more than 154,000 federal employees not to work. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah. We gave y'all buyouts. We tried to give a lot of y'all, but some of y'all didn't take it, thinking that y'all were going to keep your jobs. And most of y'all lost your jobs, and now you're not going to get as much money you was going to get beforehand. When he had did this back in March. I want to say he did this back in March, April, trying to get y'all to do these buyouts, and y'all didn't want to take them. So, I mean, sucks to suck.
I mean, it's a complete waste of time and money as to what they're doing because, it's a failure on the part of this administration of actually, doing good governance. And I think that's our biggest concern is, we were there to do good for the public. And right now, we're getting, laid off now, riffed now. And in the long term, the impacts of what we could have been doing over the past few months of getting grants out, reviewing grants, making sure that data are being collected. And, it's the short-staffed in terms of all of the agencies across the government is really going to have these devastating effects. And it's a complete and utter waste as to what they're doing.
I mean, what I'm hearing you say is
Nothing.
the work that you did was really important to keep people accountable for making sure that taxpayer-funded money that's going to school districts is getting where it needs to be and impacting students and teachers and families in the way it's supposed to be impacting them in terms of the value that it is going into certain programs. And now that accountability piece is in question.
Exactly. And what most citizens don't really realize is in 2018, there was a law that was passed, a bipartisan law called the Evidence Act. And, the agencies and the entities across the government all have to report on how they're building evidence, how they're doing good stewardship essentially for the government. And right now that isn't happening because they eliminated the folks that actually are the ones, making sure that happens. And so right now the accountability is gone. One of the big projects that I was working on in February and March was making sure that we were mitigating risks in terms of, being good stewards of government taxpayer dollars. And they've eliminated our positions.
Jason Cottrell, good luck with everything in your world right now.
Yeah, good luck, bud. We don't really need you because y'all was just using our money and playing around. We know the USA is falling behind in education amongst the countries out here. Now I got a little couple tabs up here that we can go over. So let me go back. We'll go back into that one in a second. So United States ranking global education varies by subject and assessment. For 15-year-olds, the U.S. ranks 19th in reading, math, and science literacy combined. 19th. So what are y'all really doing, Department of Education? How are we 19th if we have all this money going out to all these schools in all these states? It says, while the U.S. average a score of 495 and above the OECD average of 488, it is not in the top tier. Now let's see what the OECD is. Created by the Organization for Economy, Cooperation and Development, OECD, PISA's test of skills and knowledge of 15-year-old students in mathematics, reading, and science. 81 countries and economies took part in 22 assessments, which focused on mathematics, and data were released by the OECD on 5th December 2023. Why do they put it like that? Weird. Additional results on students' financial literacy, creative thinking, and readiness for lifelong learning were released in 2024. The ninth cycle assessment, PISA 2025, is currently underway. The results will be published in 2026. So we're ranked 19th for our 15-year-olds. And we subsidize all of this money up to trillions of dollars. That is sad. And what was I looking at? So the most educated people are Japanese. Japan got us washed. China got us washed. They send all of their young ones over here, either by visa or they have their kids born over here, and then they go back over to China or Japan, have them educated, and they come back over here and put them in college. They got us washed. I hear black women saying they're the most educated. That's wrong. It's Japanese women, Chinese women. Stop playing with yourselves. I'm sorry, black women. I love you, but y'all not the most educated. It's not my fault. Now, how many U.S. citizens are illiterate? In the United States, approximately 43 million adults, or 21% of the adult population, are considered illiterate or functionally illiterate. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, this means they struggle with basic reading and writing tasks, impacting their ability to participate fully in society. That is diabolical. 21% of our adult population can't read. That's an issue. When they're having children out here and they're not teaching them a damn thing because they don't have any sense, what are we supposed to be doing? And then our education system is not trying to teach. They're trying to push propaganda on them. Thank God we got Trump in office, because this propaganda is going to destroy America. get us washed once again. We don't need to have books about LGBTQ+. We don't need to be teaching our children until you get to high school about sex. Like, what are we doing out here? We have to do better. Let's see what the number one illiterate country is. There are 9 countries in the world that have 1% literacy rate. Oh, wow. Andorra, Finland, Greenland, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Norway, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, and North Korea. I already know I butchered some of those countries. Wow. Do 54% of Americans read below the 6th grade? Any 6th grade level? They should have put level, not just 6th grade. In the United States, 54% of American adults read below the equivalent of a 6th grade level, and nearly 1 in 5 adults read below a 3rd grade level. Lower literacy rates directly correlate to higher unemployment rates, reduced income, and overall impacts U.S. competitiveness on global stage. Do you see this? Do you see this? What has the Department of Education been doing for all of these decades and decades that they've been created? Nothing. It's been trash. This is why y'all are getting laid off. This is a damn shame. Now, since I am black, I want to go ahead and look into my black community. I want to see how we're doing. Let's go into the UNSCF. Education quality K-12. Sure, cookies. Let's see the stats. African American students are less likely than white students to have access to college-ready courses. In fact, in 2011 through 12, only 57% black students have access to a full range of math and science courses necessary for college readiness, compared to with 81% of Asian American students and 71% of white students. Even black students that have access to honors or advanced placement courses, they are vastly underrepresented in these courses. Black Latino students represent 38% of students in schools that offer AP courses, but only 29% of students enrolled in at least one AP course. Black and Latino students also have less access to gifted and talented education programs than white students. As you can see, I'm pretty literate. I can read. Did I do great in high school? Hell to the no. But I got the job done. Where do African Americans rank in education compared to with 47.1% of white adults, just 30.8% of black adults have earned some kind of college degree? I actually do not have a college degree. I do not want to have to pay student loans. I'm actually debt free right now. I paid off all my credit cards. Thank God. For perspective, current degree attainment levels of black Americans are lower than the attainment levels of white adults in 1990, over a quarter of a century ago. This is the proficiency level for different races. Got our black at 18%, our basic levels at 47%, not even at 50%, which is a damn shame. And then this is the Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, Hispanic, and American Indian and Alaska Native. It is sad to see that. It is sad to see that. We really have to do better in our black community. It starts with the parents and then it goes up to the children. And we have to figure out how the heck that we can do better. We really do. We really do. Now, how many black Americans can read? Based on 22 data from the NAEP, 17% of black students scored at or above proficiency in reading, while 21% of Hispanic, Latina, or Latin, I'm not going to say Latin, students scored at or above proficiency compared to 42% of white students. It's a damn shame. We have to be at home reading books. We got to take away these devices from our children. We got to get them off the internet. We got to get them off of video games. This is sad. This is sad. This is sad. While literacy rates vary as a number of black Americans, particularly black children, struggle with reading proficiency. In 2019, the African American literacy rate was reported to be at 87.1 compared to 90% for whites. However, this is over a few significant disparities especially among black males and students in certain age groups. For example, only 12% of black males are proficient in reading by 8th grade, according to Successful Black Parenting magazine. Furthermore, in 2024, only 17% of black 4th graders scored at an above proficient level in reading. Damn. We are losing. We are losing. We don't even have to go over that one. Now, let's see how much money that the Department of Education was getting. In 2024, the Department of Education's budget, as a measure by total outlays, including accounting adjustments, was $267.9 billion. And then this is some of the stuff that was allocated: federal student aid, elementary, secondary education, special education, and rehabilitative services, post-secondary education, disaster education, and recovery. Jeez, look at those numbers: 68 billion, 15 billion, 13 billion, 2.5 billion. I wonder how many people just getting money on the back end. Like, what the heck? Let's see, what is the annual budget? So by 2026, the budget requests $46.3 billion. That is sad to see. We rank 19th for 15-year-olds. 19th. And we're one of the biggest countries in the world. We are the biggest country in the world, because everything runs through America. Everything. We have our hands in everything. And we still can't get our kids educated. Man. This is so sad. Alright guys, this is Big Fish here with another reaction video. Go down to the comment section. Tell me how you felt about the video. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. Peace.